When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
This content may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion advised.
He was acting like a maniac. I was so scared that I couldn't look him in the eyes for longer than 3 seconds. I kept slowly backing away, but he kept stepping towards me.
Seconds later, he was behind me. He pretended to look at the groceries nearby, but he didn't have anything in his cart. My intuition was screaming that this was a dangerous situation.
From Killer Podcasts. True tales of horror, bizarre happenings, unexplainable events. This is Disturbed. Hello, and welcome back to the show. This week, we have 3 creepy experiences that will keep you looking over your shoulder. So sit back, listen closely, and dive into the horror. In our first story, the terrifying truth of a mystery man comes to light. Narrated by Dacey Else from Reddit user Fibonacci Linguini.
One Sunday night, I ordered DoorDash. My apartment has 2 buildings, and although I always leave a note, they always drop it off in the other building. Probably because it has the main lobby and mailroom. I got a notification that it was dropped off in the main lobby around 11, and my driver left me a message. He said there was a suspicious man in the lobby that might take my food, so I should hurry up. When I arrived in the lobby, I saw a guy sitting with his phone out, but he was clearly staring at my food. He saw me approaching and said, "You're here." Must be a delivery guy. "Thanks for waiting," I responded. I picked up my order and walked over to the elevators. Instead of leaving, the man walked over to me. "I actually live in this building," he said, giving me his name and apartment number. "What's your name?" I gave him a fake name and cut the conversation short, piecing everything together. This wasn't the DoorDasher, it was the suspicious man pretending to be the DoorDasher, and who had even waited for me to come down as though he made the delivery. To get back to my building, I'd have to take the elevators up to the 4th floor and over, or cut across the garage. I clearly didn't want to take the elevator with this guy, so the garage was my only option. He called an elevator with a fob and the doors opened. As soon as he stepped inside, I headed towards the garage. I went through 2 sets of doors and then took a glance back. He was following me. I booked it through the garage, heart racing. I reached my building's elevator and jammed the buttons, but I could hear it was still on its way down. The waiting area I was in had no cell service, witnesses, or cameras in sight. But there was a stairwell. Running out of time, I ran through the doors and up the stairs to the 4th floor. As I caught my breath, I had a realization. If he was still following me, he'd know for sure what building I was in, and probably what floor. By continuing across the bridge back to the first building, I could keep him guessing about where I lived, and if I lost him already, I wouldn't have to worry about it. As I was heading through the bridge, I saw someone taking out their trash in the other building. Thank God, I thought. I needed literally anyone to stand by me while I figured this out. I ran towards the person, making my way through another set of glass doors and into the hallway of the 4th floor. Just as I stopped to look for the neighbor, the mysterious man burst through the doors behind me, huffing and puffing. He got in my face and yelled, accusing me of stealing the DoorDash and telling me I could be evicted and sent to prison. He was acting like a maniac. I was so scared that I couldn't look him in the eyes for longer than 3 seconds. I kept slowly backing away, but he kept stepping towards me. At this point, the person taking out their trash was nowhere to be found. I was completely alone with this man. He continued to raise his voice, claiming that the number on the receipt stapled outside the bag was the real person's apartment number and that I had stolen it from them. The number he was talking about was the order number, not the apartment number, but nothing I said could convince him otherwise. He wasn't actually interested in the order, he just wanted to follow me. No one in their right mind would chase a woman around a building that late at night and then demand that he follow them to their apartment so he could verify it with the order. In between his threats, he pressed the elevator button and the elevator arrived. Before he even finished getting on the elevator, I ran in the opposite direction, back over the bridge to my building and up to my floor. I got to my apartment, paralyzed and shaking. I was so terrified that I hyperventilated, almost choking from the lack of air. That image of him behind me in the doorframe was seared into my brain. For days, I was barely able to sleep. He knew where I lived, and I was terrified he'd show up again. The smallest sounds woke me up, sending my heart rate through the roof and turning me into a sweaty mess. I know a lot of women have had more frightening, violent encounters, but this gave me a type of anxiety I had never felt before. I wrote a long, detailed email to management with screenshots from the DoorDash and exact accounts and locations of where everything happened, hoping they would corroborate my account with their camera footage. Within a day or two, they came and visited me. They apologized for what happened, saying that they had seen the footage and it was frightening. They said I needed to file a police report immediately and they'd stay so I wouldn't have to do it alone. I asked if they knew the man and they did. My heart sank. He lived in the building and I was the 4th or 5th woman he harassed. They said he follows the same pattern of targeting women when they're alone and he's been arrested for it previously. He's also been sent to the hospital because of his mental health issues. Apparently, he had just been booked and released 2 days prior to harassing me, and management wasn't aware he was back. Eventually, I talked to the police, but they didn't do anything. Since he didn't explicitly say, "I'll kill you" or hold a weapon, they said it only qualified as a nuisance, not a threat, which wasn't grounds for arrest. On top of that, my property manager said they've been trying to evict him, but there isn't enough evidence, and eviction is a long process. There was nothing they could do. Afterwards, I did some of my own digging, now that I had his name. I learned that he actually has 6 court cases since 2018. His record was littered with stalking, harassment, restraining orders, multiple reissued anti-harassment protection orders, domestic violence, and a request for him to surrender his firearms. I couldn't believe it. This man was able to freely move about common spaces in our complex, and management has never mentioned anything to residents, nor regarded our safety. I was stunned. This wasn't just a creep, he was seriously dangerous. I ordered some self-defense items, including a doorbell camera, and decided not to leave my apartment until they arrived. A few days later, around 6 p.m., the camera was delivered to the mailroom. I still didn't feel comfortable leaving, so I asked my married friend who lives in the other building if she was comfortable walking me to the mailroom. She agreed, but said she had to meet me on the 4th floor of her building. I left my apartment, taking deep breaths with my friend on the phone. I reached the bridge and squinted, trying to spot my friend on the other side. Then I saw him again. He locked eyes with me, started mouthing things, smiling, then yelling. I began uncontrollably crying and quickly ran back into my building. My friend was in the hallway behind him, so she saw everything. She wasn't with her husband either, but he had locked eyes with me and was angry now. There were some people in the hallway frantically asking if I was okay, but I couldn't speak. My friend, still on the line, told me to go back to my apartment and that she would meet me there with her husband. My friend and her husband came up a few moments later, staying with me as I frantically packed a go bag. We decided it wasn't safe for me to be alone in my apartment, so I reached out to another friend who lives elsewhere in the city and said I could crash at her place. My friend and her husband escorted me through the hallway, me physically breaking down as we neared the elevators, but eventually leading me to my other friend's car. It's been 3 days since I left. I wrote to management telling them about the incident, but they haven't responded. Even though the complaints from me and my neighbors are piling things up, management won't be able to do anything because his housing is protected as someone with a mental illness. They're probably worried that if they evict him, he might be able to sue for discriminatory eviction. I don't have a boyfriend, which seems to be the only detriment, so my sister and her husband are trying to figure out when they can fly in and help me pack up and move. I'm devastated because I love this apartment, but I have to put my safety first. I can't help thinking about how even after all of this, nothing is going to change. There's seemingly nothing that will stop his behavior. I wish they just permanently admit him to a facility where he can get the help he needs, but instead he's just left to terrorize his neighbors.
As a father of 4, there's nothing more important than the safety of my family. After we moved into a new house, I wanted a security system that didn't just catch criminals, but stopped crime in the first place. That's why I got Simply Safe. Their AI-powered cameras detect threats while they are still outside your home and alert real security agents. It's a game changer. They take action in real time, confronting the intruder, letting them know they're being watched on camera, and that the police are on their way, and even sounding a loud siren and triggering a spotlight if needed. That is real security. And it's why Simply Safe was named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report for 5 years running. Now I have peace of mind while I'm out of the house. Simply Safe is incredibly dependable. The monitoring system is fast and reliable, and the app is super easy to use, so I'm always able to check in. Simply Safe protects not only your family, but your wallet too. There's no long-term contracts, no hidden fees, and you can cancel at any time. Plus, with a 60-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk to try it out. For anyone looking to protect their home or business, I definitely recommend Simply Safe. Right now, Disturbed listeners can save 50% on a Simply Safe home security system at simplysafe.com/disturbed. That's simplysafe.com/disturbed. There's no safe like Simply Safe. As the weather cools, I'm swapping in pieces that actually get the job done. Warm, durable, and built to last. And Quince delivers every time, with wardrobe staples that'll carry you through the season. Quince has the kind of fall staples you'll actually want to wear on repeat, like 100% Mongolian cashmere from just $60, classic fit denim, and real leather and wool outerwear that looks sharp and holds up. I've really been enjoying my new organic stretch corduroy overshirt. It's stylish and comfortable, and makes me excited for the weather to drop, because I want to wear it all the time. I also just grabbed a cotton velvet quilt from Quince in preparation for winter. My wife loves the color, and the kids love how soft it is. Layer up this fall with pieces that feel as good as they look. Go to quince.com/disturbed for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too. That's QUINCE.com/disturbed. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/disturbed. Welcome back to Disturbed. Next, a misunderstanding reveals a terrifying conspiracy. Narrated by Jenn Brady from Reddit user 123copper123.
As a child, I had a severe speech delay. I was completely mute up until a few weeks before kindergarten. This caused me to have a speech impediment, which I technically still have to this day, but to a lesser extent. I'm lucky enough that the letters I have trouble with match up with the letters often dropped in certain accents. So to the untrained ear, I sound British or Australian. Because of this, it's often easier to lie about being British than to explain the speech impediment thing and face any stigma that goes with it. The only people who know the truth are very close friends and family. Now on to the story. I was 18 and at a school event with my girlfriend and a friend of hers. I technically have known this friend for 4 years, but not well. Midway through our conversation, she asked how my mom was doing. I was completely caught off guard because that's not something you normally ask an acquaintance. "Why? Do you know her?" I asked. She explained that my mom used to be her education assistant and helped her work out behavioral issues all throughout elementary and middle school. This was really bizarre. My mom did work at a school for a brief period, but she was a lunchtime supervisor and only ever worked in one elementary school, which I knew this girl didn't go to. I told her my mom wasn't an EA and asked if she was sure it was my mom. She said she was positive because my mom used to talk about me all the time. Apparently, she even recommended my high school because I went there. At this point, I was convinced that this girl was confusing me with some other girl because I have a pretty basic name. She insisted she wasn't mistaken and mentioned how my mom would talk about my life. She then gave a few examples, including my time going to speech therapy. This made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. I was very secretive about my speech impediment. How did this woman know about it, let alone the other stuff? Who was she? I asked what my mom looked like, just to confirm my suspicion. She said she was somewhat short with curly brown hair. That is not my mother. My mom is tall and blonde. But as I scoured my brain for explanations, I came to a realization. That is exactly what my first speech therapist looked like. I worked with her for about 2 years before she switched to another school, and she definitely could have become an EA. We talked about it and confirmed my theory. My old therapist had been pretending she was my mother for years. It was so creepy to think about, and I didn't know what to do. I was running through all my interactions with her in my mind, searching for some kind of sign or explanation. I came up mostly empty-handed, but one memory stuck out. After I had switched therapists, I was in a store with my mother, and there was a shiny blue guitar on the wall. Since I was a child and liked shiny blue things, I really wanted this guitar. It was crazy expensive, and I had shown no interest in playing the guitar, so my mom said no, of course. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, my old therapist showed up. The one who later pretended to be my mom. She bought the guitar for me, despite my mom's insistence that she didn't have to. At the time, it seemed like just a kind thing to do, albeit overly generous. Now, though, it seems like that was the first clue to what was really going on with her.
If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. Now I have high-speed data and unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network, all while keeping my phone, number, and contacts. Many of you know Mint Mobile has been partnered with us for a while now, and that's because I really do love Mint. Unlike my old carrier, Mint is reliable and affordable, so I've been telling everyone to make the switch. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/disturbed. That's mintmobile.com/disturbed. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. It's birthday season in my family, which means a lot of sugar, grease, and fatty foods. Normally, that would be the worst for my stomach, but not this year. I recently started drinking AG1, and it has kept me feeling 100%. AG1 Next Gen is a daily health drink clinically shown to support gut health and fill in common nutrient gaps. With 5 probiotic strains and 75+ vitamins and minerals, it replaces the need for a multivitamin, probiotics, and more. In an industry where not everyone invests heavily in research, AG1 Next Gen is setting the standard. They go to great lengths to continually invest in rigorous, peer-reviewed clinical trials to guarantee AG1 Next Gen will work for you. Plus, it comes in 4 amazing flavors you're sure to love. I'm so glad I started drinking AG1, and you will be too. Head to drinkag1.com/disturbed to get a free welcome kit, including a bottle of vitamin D and free AG1 travel packs when you first subscribe. That's drinkag1.com/disturbed. Welcome back to the show. Finally, a grocery shopper is more disturbed than he seems. Narrated by Sinn from Reddit user SafeWealth1242.
Not too long ago, I went to my local grocery store at around 6 p.m. just to grab a few things. I was by myself and the store wasn't super busy, but enough people were around. As I was walking through an aisle, I nearly bumped into a tall, heavy-set man with a cart. He was around 40 with olive skin and a gray shirt. "Oh, sorry," I said. He said sorry too, but then he stopped in the aisle, looking me directly in the eye. He slightly leaned in, smiled, and said, "How was your day today?" The way he said it immediately set off alarms in my head. For context, I'm a young adult male, but I'm pretty androgynous looking and don't have a hyper-masculine fashion sense. I'm also only 5'5". Strangers mix my gender up all the time. So at first I figured maybe he thought I was a woman. I have a deep voice, so usually people figure it out after I speak, but he either didn't notice or didn't care. I gave a quick, "I'm fine," and walked away. Seconds later, he was behind me. I noticed and thought it was weird, but I figured we were probably just headed toward the same area. I took a U-turn to another aisle without grabbing anything. And there he was behind me again. When I turned to look at him, he pretended to look at the groceries nearby, but he didn't have anything in his cart. At this point, my heart was literally pounding. I knew that on paper, nothing much had happened yet, but my intuition was screaming that this was a dangerous situation. I left my cart and went straight to a cashier. I quietly asked if she could walk with me because I felt someone was following me. She didn't know who I was talking about, but she started telling me about her own encounter with a creep who'd been in the store before, a man who had told her he was from Australia. As soon as I heard that, I was immediately reminded of something that happened to me at this exact same store a few months prior. My mom, sister, and I were loading my car when a man with olive skin approached us. He asked us about our day, saying he was from Australia and new to the area. The weird thing was he had no accent at all. My sister and I immediately got in the car because we both were really creeped out, but my mom carried the conversation for a bit and then joined us. We figured we were probably overreacting. He might just be a bit odd and trying to make friends. Now, however, I knew our instincts were right. This was the same guy that had bothered the cashier and was now following me in the store. As the cashier and I talked, the man appeared again, nearly running into us. Again, he smiled and said sorry. I was so thrown off I couldn't even think straight about what else I needed to buy. I decided to check out early, and of course the man checked out at the exact same time, right next to me. The cashier was still by my side and offered to walk me to my car when the man finished at the same time as me. We left out a side door, and the man followed. We didn't want him to see where I parked, so we walked around a bit. He was clearly confused and eventually gave up, walking to his car, which was on the other side of the lot. After that, the cashier got me to my car safely and I headed home. Since then, I've been a bit shaken. Why is this guy camping out at a grocery store? Is he looking for me specifically, or did he just run into me twice? What does he want? I never got any answers, but I'm just glad I decided to ask the cashier for help. Who knows what would have happened if I hadn't?
Want more Disturbed? Check out our Patreon for member-exclusive content, early merch access, and other cool perks. I'm your host, Doug Bailey, and this has been Disturbed, a production of Killer Podcasts and part of the Evergreen Network. For more paranormal and true crime shows, visit killerpodcasts.com. Follow our social channels at Disturbed Podcast on Instagram or Disturbed_pod on Twitter. If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing and reviewing on your favorite listening platform. Share your own true horror story at disturbedpodcast.com. Music by Epidemic Sound and by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Our producer is Declan Roars. Audio engineering by Nathan Corson, Will Pritz, and Sean Rule Hoffman. Executive producer Bridget Coyne. Until next time, stay safe out there.